In this part, I will talk about comparative advantage theory, published by British David Ricardo in 1817, Principles of Political Economics and Taxation. It resolves Smith's limitation on excluding participation of an economy without absolute advantage on international division of labor, and developed it into the comparative advantage that determines the international trade. Generally speaking, that is the greatest advantage while the least disadvantage. Simply put, an economy with absolute advantage don't have to produce all products, but should focus its production on products with its maximum domestic comparative advantage. The economy with absolute disadvantage don't need to stop producing all products either, but it should quit its production with maximum domestic comparative disadvantage. In this simple example 2x2 economy, labor is the only factor. Before the labor specialization, country A produced 1 unit of X using 6 units of labor, and B used only 1 unit of labor. Country A producing Y using 4 units of labor, and B used 2 units of labor. In absolute advantage, country B has the absolute advantage in producing both goods, but the comparative advantage, we use the ratio by 4/6. The country A is 4/6 in producing Y in comparison with X. And it's less than 2/1, that is equal to 2. Therefore, country A has comparative advantage in producing Y. Similarly, it uses the B using production of Y is 2X is 2, 1/2 in terms of Y, and is greater than 6/4. Therefore, country B has comparative advantage in producing X. As a graded highlighted in the right. The A and B each use labor 10 and 3, totally 17, and produce 4 units of X and Y. After the labor specialization, the country A, the world labor consumption is stay the same as 13, but A produce Y 10/4 units, that totally 2.5. It consumes 1, but exchange 1.5 units of Y for 1.5 units of X from country B. And B produces totally 3 units of X. It consumes 1 unit and exchange 2 X with country A for 2 Y as consumption, but totally is the 5.5 after specialization units of both X and Y, which is greater than before the specialization only 4 units of X plus Y. That's the difference is 1.5 products more. And both better off because world consumption and welfare increases and the labor cost saves. I'll talk about the Ricardo point in our Ding Talk app by video recording. The graphic interpretation can be seen in this figure. This figure shows that with specialization, both countries produce both X and Y. Labor division X and Y production ratio changes. Country A before trade is its indifference curve is this one. It intercepts PPF at a point A. The slope is the relative price. It's very steeper. The relative price is a little steeper, and is the px over py 1. And after the trade, the indifference curve shifts to this number 2, and it intercepts with the ppf at a prime at this hg coordination. Their intercept connecting a prime and c with slope equal to relative price. That's decreased because the slope becomes smaller. Decrease from this TW from TA to TW. That become less steep, and this can be measured by this export Y. Y is exports, and there's a difference between G and C, and import X from country B. That's measured by difference between E and A prime. IC curve shifts outwards, and welfare better off. Similarly, in country B before international trade, indifference curve is I prime. PPF intercepts at B, and slope is equal to this TB. That is it's smaller than the TW. This is the relative price. After trade is the indifference curve shift to 2 prime. The intercept PPF at B prime. The intercept connecting B prime and D with the slope at TW. This slope increases from TB, and the volume of export is the difference between this E prime and the D, the consumption point and the production point. And the import is between the consumption and the production, the B prime and the E prime. The indifference curve shifts outward to the 2 prime, which means the welfare is better off. The main contribution of Ricardo's theory analyzes the international trade's reciprocal benefit to involved parties, regardless of deficits of surplus. It reveals that international trade takes place as a consequence of difference in comparative advantage, and international trade mutually benefits both parties. It testifies that mutual benefit is realized through trading partners export products with comparatively lower cost and import those with higher relative cost. Mutual benefit improves world welfare generally. The comparative advantage is more realistic than absolute advantage. It still has some limitations. First, it relies on rigid assumptions, which don't reflect real-world situation. For example, the perfect competition mobility of factors. Economy of scale is consistent in an economy, which all the assumptions deviate from facts, and limits the adoption of this theory in all circumstances. The greater the gap of comparative advantage, the higher possibility of occurrence of international trade. Whereas, in fact, international trade occurs between countries with little difference of comparative advantage. According to Ricardo's, all international trade participating countries assert trade liberalism rather than regional protectionism. In reality, countries adopt regional protectionism to some extent, which deviates from Ricardo's conclusion. Thank you.